everyone. Welcome to my session. My name is Ayça Baş. I'm a cloud advocate at Microsoft, and in this session, I'll show you how you can enhance your productivity with no code. All right, let's get into it. When we say productivity, what sort of apps do you think you use day to day? We join in meetings, we check out our emails, we chat with our colleagues on Teams. We also add some items in our to-do list. So for me, I always start my day with Teams. Probably I check out my emails after that, and I also check out to-do lists. I wonder which ones are your favorite when you use them day to day. So did you know that you can actually access data in the background of these apps? When we think about Microsoft 365, we use a lot of apps in Microsoft 365 day to day, but there is a way to access our data available in these products too. All these actions, when we are using these apps, are actually creating data in Microsoft 365 Cloud, and you can access your own data, and you're the one, you can only do this. No one else can access your data. And there's a way to do it, which is Microsoft Graph. Let me introduce you Microsoft Graph. Graph is a unified API to access Microsoft 365 data and intelligence. You can call Graph API in your app and access hundreds of different data available for us. Some of these data sets you might be aware of, like, for example, email, calendar, or maybe Teams chats, to-do items, planner tasks, and so on. Don't forget, there are hundreds of different data sets available, so these are just the popular ones. In this session, we have a quick look how we can use this data to increase our productivity with low code. If you want to learn more about Microsoft Graph, we have a developer's guide to Graph. You can check out the link available in the slide, and you can go ahead and deep dive into Graph concepts. Okay, so there's one more step we have to complete before consuming Graph in our apps or flows, which was the authentication. So Graph exposes REST APIs to access data in Microsoft 365. And of course, we need to ask our users' consent before accessing this data. To build an authentication system in the background, we can leverage from Microsoft Identity, which actually offers modern authentication solutions like Azure Active Directory. And once we ask our users to authenticate in our app, and then we can call Graph API to bring their calendar events, to-do items, or many more data that you might require. Basically, your users or customers will need to log into your app or your flow so that once they're giving their consent, you can access their data using your app. And we're going to do this by using per platform. Let me just show you 3 different ways to enhance productivity in the workplace by using Microsoft Graph and Power Platform. And by saying Power Platform, in our scenarios, we will leverage from Power Automate specifically, but of course, you can do hundreds of different scenarios as well by leveraging from other products available under Power Platform. Okay, so let me show you the easiest way you can build apps, build flows using Power Platform. The first thing you can do is checking out Microsoft 365 built-in connectors. We have so many connectors available in Power Automate. If you go to Power Automate and create a new flow, when you check out Microsoft 365, you will see that we have Teams, we have Outlook, we have Forms, and there are lots of other connectors available for you, so you don't have to write any code. By using these connectors, you can build your own productivity solution. One scenario that we can use this built-in connectors can be, for example, let's say I have a full pack calendar starting from 9:30 a.m. till 9:30 p.m. I am back-to-back meetings, working as a consultant with the customers day to day. Of course, I won't be able to join. I won't be able to check out my emails during the day because I will be in the meetings. But if my colleagues send me a new calendar event, or what if I have a conflict when they send me a meeting request, I won't be able to reply back probably until the end of the day because my calendar is full. I can show you a quick scenario how we can manage our own calendar using the Flow. Flow basically manages users' calendar and replies to the meeting invites. There's a great way to do that by using built-in connectors. Again, you don't have to create anything custom. You can just leverage from whatever is available in Power Automate. Let's say we use a connector called when new meeting is created in user's calendar. We call Microsoft Graph API to view the calendar and check if there is any conflict. If there's no conflict in the calendar, we basically send a response back to the organizer saying accepted, and then Flow can notify me on Teams that, hey, we accepted this invite, so it's in your calendar. If there's a conflict in the calendar, we can also check this by just seeing the start time and end time because we have view of the calendar. If there's a conflict, we check the availability for rest of the day. And again, in the background of this built-in connectors, we call graph and we get the view of rest of the day. If there are more than 5 events, unfortunately, we send a reply back to our colleagues saying, unfortunately, rest of the day is full for me, but what about the other days? Do you want to reschedule to other dates? If there are less than 5 events in the calendar, again, we respond back saying, can we reschedule to the organizer? And both of these actions will be done by just calling Graph API in the background. And in any of the responses, we will inform the end user saying, hey, we declined this request, we rescheduled this request, and so on. So it's pretty useful. If you want to build something like this by yourself, you can check out the link in the below and there will be step-by-step guidance for you. Let's take a look how I did this in the Power Automate. So I use when a new event is created here and I logged in here. So I can track the new event by just getting the ID of the event. And I get view of the calendar for start time and end time of the related event. So I just need to make sure that there's no conflict. Again, the second thing I check the IDs. So it's not the same event I'm just looking at. It's a different event. So I make sure there is zero conflict. If there is no conflict, then I respond back to the event saying accepted, looking forward to talk to you soon. And I inform the end user saying, hey, this event is accepted and it's in your calendar. If there's a conflict, we check rest of the day for the entire day. And if there are more than 5 events, basically in the calendar for the rest of the day, we can respond to the organizer decline. Can we reschedule to another date because I am fully booked for the rest of the day? And we again notify the end user saying this invitation is declined. And if there are less than 5 events, we send a tentative message to the organizer to reschedule and we inform the user again. Let's test this flow and see if we can manage to not to look at our calendar. Okay, so I'm in the calendar of the administrator and I'm going to send a new event in administrator's calendar. So in this email, I will just say tech review, this calendar event, and I will invite administrator. I know that she's available at 9:30, so I'll just send this invite. Okay, so Flow already sends me a message saying accepted, which is great. And Aicha received a message as looking forward to talk to you soon from the administrator. That works perfectly fine. So for now, we will just test another scenario, which is a scenario when we have a conflict. Let's create another event in the administrator's calendar. I will send an event called daily sync, and then I will invite the administrator. And I send the message. So the problem here is that administrator has a really packed day, so it has declined for this time. And Aicha receives a message email saying, unfortunately, I have conflict, because as we can check our flow, it is under the option when it is true. That means we have more than 5 events for rest of the day in our calendar. That's why we decline this. And we inform the end user as this invitation is declined for your calendar. Okay, so this day is full. Let's check out tomorrow. Okay, I have tomorrow sort of free. Let's try to schedule something in administrator's calendar in tomorrow. Okay, so I will set up a invitation at 9 a.m. I have a conflict, but rest of the day is free. Okay, let's just type calendar planning. And I invite administrator, send us request, and then let's see what happens. The rest of the day is free. So Aicha receive a message, can we reschedule? And if she responds back as yes, then my administrator will receive a message from the flow saying reschedule requested. So this is how it works, and we can basically manage the entire thing here in the flow. We don't need to go ahead and check out our emails and calendars and so on. Okay, so there's another thing you can do. You can actually call Graph APIs using HTTP connectors. And if you want to do it by yourself, you can check out the Graph HTTP calls, Power Automate, and then you will basically have a guidance step-by-step how to do it. But there are some circumstances when you use the HTTP connectors in the Power Automate. You cannot basically reuse it. You have to build your authentication manually in the flow. So there's actually a better way to leverage from the Graph APIs if you want to build something custom and if it is not available in the built-in connectors. Let me just show you the third way of doing something different. Here's a scenario. Let's say that the thing I want to do is not available in Power Automate in the connectors list. And I want to call Graph API to get some sort of specific data available for me. Of course, you can call HTTP. You can use HTTP connector to call Graph. But again, every time when you call Graph in different flows, you have to rebuild your authentication. Instead, you can actually reuse your custom Graph calls with custom connectors. You can build your own custom connectors to do specific thing in Power Automate. So here's the thing we can build. First, I can use my connector to get to-do tasks into my, let's say, in the morning. Every morning at 9 a.m., I receive my to-do items from Teams. To do that, there's no connectors available in Power Automate, so I need to build my own connector to get this data. And to get this message on Teams, we will use post a choice of options as Flowbot as a user. So basically, this card sends me all the options I gathered from our custom connector. When I click any of the options, I again call Graph here with our custom connectors, and I get more data from the data we are getting from the to-do items. Let's see how we can do this. Again, if you want to try this by yourself, go ahead and check out the link, and this will guide you through how we can build something like this from scratch. Okay, so I'm in Power Automate again, and I'm going to build my own custom connector. Under data, if you go to custom connectors, you will be directed to all list of custom connectors. I already created mine, and the only thing I'm doing here is handling the authentication for the first time and very most time. I don't need to repeat this again. And I am creating action to create to do calls here. I'm basically calling the Graph endpoint here to do the to-do to get the to-do tasks. And here is my to-do connector flow. Let me just quickly walk you through what we are doing here. We had a recurrence every day at 9 a.m. I receive my to-do tasks from my to-do. So I'm using my custom connector to handle this. And the only thing I have to do is just authenticate. And I'm parsing the data I'm getting here so that I can reuse this data in my flow. And I basically keep some stuff in the array. Here, I compose the titles so that I will show titles as buttons in the card I'm sending on Teams. Here are the tasks I have. I'm sending you on Teams, and then when we choose any of the tasks available for me, I will just get the selected item details again from the data I got from the custom connector, and then I will give more details. Let's test this and see how this works. Okay, so I'm running the flow, and let's say that it's 9 a.m. in the morning. Let's go ahead and check the teams. So I have list of items here I need to complete for today. When I click on review architecture, let's say I want to see when is the deadline and if it is important or so on, I can get more details from the flow. And basically, this flow works fine, so I don't have any problem. The only thing we do here is just creating our custom connector and then getting specific data. Of course, this scenario was specifically for to do, but if you want to get any sort of other data sets from Microsoft 365, you can, of course, leverage from this scenario, but you just need to change the graph endpoint in the connector. Okay, with that, I want to just show you what are resources I recommend you to go ahead and check out. The first thing you can deep dive is the graph documentation. We have several different data sets available for us in Microsoft 365, and there are really easy ways to handle this with graphs. So go ahead and check out Graph Docs. If you want to learn more details about graphs step by step, we have a great learn path for you to go deep dive about graphs, so you can check out academy/learn-graph. There is a great tool, open source and free. If you want to explore what are the APIs, what are the data sets available for us, you can take a look at the Microsoft Graph Explorer. It's a great place to learn everything about graph, in my opinion. And I also have the links for you, the scenarios I mentioned. The first one was built-in connectors. Second one, the ways you can handle HTTP calls. And the third one was using custom connectors in the using custom connectors in the Power Automate tool, and you can leverage from all these articles to build your own flow using Graph. With that, I would like to thank everyone. If you have any questions, just drop them in the chat window. Otherwise, feel free to send me any questions from the Twitter too. And thanks for joining in this session. Thank you.